Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's third video. So we're going to have a look at the weather for the next 10 to 14 days for today's third video. Day 10 will take us to around the 26th of January. We'll be able to extend out beyond that. We extended GFS and ECM ensembles. They run to around a couple of weeks. And we're going to have a look at CFS V2 at the end of video for the next 4 weeks, which will get us into the middle of February. Been a busy day at GWV so far today. So we started off with the ECM WF 42-day forecast. That takes us to the end of mid-tropical winters and the first day of March. That's delayed from yesterday. That's the first video up today. And also we released the weekend forecast, of course, as always on a Saturday, your weekend look ahead. So have a look at the 2 videos that we've released so far if you have not yet done so. Very surprising announcement now. We're going to be live streaming between 6 and 7 o'clock this evening. So a rare one-off, highly unusual Saturday live stream coming up for you. We'll go through the 12Z and I shall be begging for subscribers because I'm trying to get us to 10k subscribers and give away the Amazon voucher. I'll actually show you the voucher now. I haven't shown this yet, but here it is. This is the Amazon voucher worth £50. Somebody's going to win that when we reach 10k subscribers. We've got to get to 10k subscribers, you know, before we can give it away. I have been hoping that we might be able to do it on tomorrow, Sunday's live stream. Be fantastic if we could, but I'm not sure we're going to be able to. Got to put on another 110 subscribers to get to 10k. So we are close to it, but that's quite a lot to put on in like 24 hours. So it'll be more likely Monday or Tuesday that we get to 10k. I think, and give away the Amazon voucher on Wednesday's live stream. But if we could hit, you know, 10k for tomorrow's live stream and give away the Amazon voucher in Sunday's live stream, that would be absolutely amazing if we could do that. But I do not know if we're going to be able to pull it off or not. But it would be amazing if we could, wouldn't it? We'll see where we are after tonight's live stream. Anyways, if we can put on, you know, put on a few during tonight's live stream, it may give us the outside chance of being able to do this tomorrow. But it really does depend what we're looking at, where we are, you know, by the end of tonight and tomorrow morning. So live stream anyway coming up between 6 and 7 o'clock. So I shall see you then live, hopefully. Now, before I do anything else, I've got to say thank you so much, hello, and thank you so much to another channel member. We put on channel members all the time, but put more channel members on last night's live stream. So, everybody who becomes a channel member has their own individual shout-out. We've also got a patron to shout out as well next week. But I want to say hello and thank you so much to Robert Gibbs. Thank you so much to Robert Gibbs for becoming a GWV channel member. It's unbelievable. We're up to around 54 channel members now. So thank you so much to Robert Gibbs for becoming a channel member for GWV. If you would like to become a GWV channel member, all you need to do is come to the YouTube homepage, click the join button, take you through to another page where you can see what benefits you get for becoming a channel member on that page, and of course you can sign up on that page as well. Thank you so much to all channel members, all patrons, all donors, all super chatters. Had loads of super chatters in last night's live stream as well. It's unbelievable. It's absolutely incredible what you do for me and for GWV as well. So thank you so much to each and every one of you, and of course special thank you to Robert Gibbs. Remember, support does not have to come like financial support. It can be through sharing videos, through watching videos, through liking the videos, through subscribing, telling your friends and family to subscribe as well. So all of these things help with the channel also. Thank you so much to all of you. I'm so proud of GWV's community as we near 10k subscribers. An unbelievable and amazing milestone. Like 3 or 4 years ago, I would never have dreamed that the channel would get to 10k subscribers. I never dreamt in my wildest dreams that this channel would reach 10k subscribers. So I'm so incredibly proud as we near 10k subscribers of the community that we have all built up together, and especially so in this past year. It's been absolutely incredible and absolutely amazing. I'm so pleased to be on this journey with all of you. So thank you so much to each and every one of you. Much more about that when we get to 10k, of course. Right, let's start the video then. So we're going to have a look at Central England temperature first of all. So the CET is currently standing at 2.3. That's an anomaly of 1.2 degrees below average, added provisional to the 15th of January. So the first half of January has been solidly colder than average, been the coldest first half to January in the CET zone. Since 2010, so coldest first half of January for 11 years. I appreciate parts of southern England have not had much snow. Northern areas had a lot more snow, though. So yeah, but it's been a cold first half to January. This will start to move upwards over the next few days because it's going to get milder. This may get into the low threes, perhaps, by the middle of next week, but then we'll probably start to fall back again. So by around Wednesday, we could be somewhere around 3.0 perhaps, but then I would suspect it will start to fall back again later next week as the wind turns back into the north. I'll just have a look at some January's past with the CT. So this is the CT page at Gaz Weather Viz. So central temperature, of course, is the longest and most consistent temperature record on Earth, really. Goes all the way back to 1659, although the further back you go, the more unreliable it becomes. But it is a snapshot, it's an indication of what conditions were like back then. So, for example, in 1659, as far back as we go with the CT, we did have a January CT of 3.0, so that was probably quite mild for the time. But 1660 was had a CT of 0.0, very cold January, and then a very mild one in 1661 and also in 1662. So you get the idea that it's just a snapshot the further back you go, but more recent years are a lot more reliable. Let's come down through all of the centuries and the decades then, and we come down to, so we haven't got 2021 in with this show, I haven't put it in yet, but we have got 2020. So last January is actually very mild. I'm sure you remember it, part of the polar vortex of doom. Who could forget it? Central temperature is 6.4 during January 2020. That's followed by an exceptionally mild February as well, with a CT of 6.3. And of course, December 2019 was also very mild at 5.8. That's a really, really mild winter that we had, last winter, 2019. 2020, polar vortex of doom and exceptionally mild. This winter is a lot colder than last winter. There's no getting away from that. Now, the last time we had a cold January, so through the past decade, we see that a lot of the Januaries are coming out like 4, 5, 4, 5, 4, 5, 3 in 2013, so that's a slightly colder one in January 2013, but the last time we had a properly cold January was in 2010, which had a central temperature of 1.4. That was our last really cold January. So 2010 was the last time we had a very cold January, although 2011 was quite chilly at 3.7, follows on from a December to remember, of course, and as I say, 2013 also was quite cold at 3.5, but more recent Januaries have tended to be quite a lot milder. The last extremely mild January, which would be a CT above 7 degrees, actually in 2007, that came out with CT of 7.0. So we haven't been in the sevens with January since then. I think that was about the mildest January since 1920 something. And going further back, so if we go back into the 1990s, we can see that we had a cold January 1997 with CT of 2.5. Go back even further than that, we had a very cold January in 1987. Of course, that contains the freeze-up of January 1987, where we had perhaps the severest spell of single one-off spell of weather since 1740, with maximums across some parts of South BC not getting much above around -8 degrees a day and night. So, but it wasn't a sub-zero January for the CT. Now it comes out with CT of 0.8 degrees. So very close to like sub-zero CT for January 1987, but not quite pulling it off. The last time we actually had a below freezing January, 1985, interestingly, also has the same CET. So you have January 1987 at 0.8, and then January 1985 also at 0.8. Both of those Januaries get very close to being sub-zero CET months, but just don't quite manage to pull it off. The last time we had a sub-zero CET for January was such a long time ago now. It was back in 1979, part of a winter of discontent, where we had a centering temperature of minus 0.4. That was the last time we had a sub-zero CET for January. Extremely cold month and very, very snowy as well. This January will not be a sub-zero CET January, because obviously we're having moderation and the cold hasn't reached that kind of depth that we had in 1979. So the wait for a sub-zero CET for January continues for another year. It's a long time ago that, 1979 is a very, very long time ago. I'm 43 now, I was only like 2 then during that winter. So that shows you how long ago it was that it had a sub-zero CET for January. Since then, we have had a sub-zero CET for February in 1986, and of course, we had the December to remember in 2010. So both February and December have posted sub-zero CET since 1979. At some point, we're going to have a sub-zero CET for January. Even taking into account the warming trend that we're in, at some point, we will get a sub-zero CET for January. It's a matter of when, not if. But the wait goes on for another year. And of course, whilst we're doing this, we have to talk about 1963, don't we? So the last time we had a CET for January that came in, very, very extremely cold was in 1963, which had a central temperature of minus 2.1, followed by February 1963, which had a CET of minus 0.7. They are extremely cold months, and particularly so January 1963, which was the coldest January since, let's go all the way back through the years. January 1963 was the coldest January for the CET all the way back to, we're not there yet, that year 1740, which had a January CET of minus 2.8. And so that's why 1963 is classed as the daddy of cold winters, because it was the coldest winter since 1740. It was extraordinarily cold and brutally cold and snowy month from beginning to end. The snow fell on Boxing Day or over Christmas of 1962, and it was still on the ground in March 63. And so 1963 still stands out, of course, as the daddy of cold winters. The coldest winter since 1740, and particularly so in January 1963. That's the data anyway. So let's come back down to the more modern years. So I think this is probably going to be the coldest January, perhaps since 2013, with a CET of 3.5. If we was to come in under 3 degrees, which I'm not sure we will, but if it's coming to in the 2s, for example, it would be the coldest January since 2010. So the coldest January for 11 years. Thought you find that interesting, something a little bit different. Right, let's get on with the forecast then. So these are the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles. So let's go with at Stroud today. The red line is a 30-year upper air temperature average for Stroud. We're starting off, we've got a little bit milder actually today, but it's going to get a bit cooler again over the next couple of days. But through the early part of next week, particularly Tuesday into Wednesday, it will get really quite mild, but also associated with a lot of rain. Second half of next week into next weekend goes colder. Winds get back into the north again, so another cold interlude coming up later next week. More about that in weekend forecast. And then going into the last week of January, we do find that it goes milder again around here. Sometime around 27th, 28th of January. Maybe signs of a bit of a cooling trend as we begin February. But of course, that's like 2 weeks away. So it is very, very much in the unreliable time frame. Precipitation-wise, actually tomorrow and Monday will be relatively dry away from the west. But then a real deluge coming Tuesday into Wednesday. Turns very, very wet Tuesday into Wednesday. There are concerns about flooding through the middle part of the week. Then as it goes colder in the second half week into next weekend, it turns a bit drier, but not completely dry, so it suggests there could be some rain and possibly even some snow around later next week and into next weekend. And then through the closing days of January, as the temperature begins to pick up a little bit, it turns very unsettled, and there will be bouts of heavy rain coming through once again. And of course, initially there might be some snow involved in the transition from milder from colder to milder weather. Eventually, by the end of January, probably back into mostly rainfall. Temperature anomalies from the 16th to 24th of January are going to be a little bit cold on average for the north, a little bit mild on average for the south. I would expect these to trend colder by the early part of next week, because we have got quite a cold snap coming up again later next week and into next weekend. Precipitation anomalies from the 16th to 24th of January going to be above average, a wetter than average week is coming up. Latest wind flow map from earthnullschools.net shows that westerlies have broken through, so we're in a different air mass now. We've got rid of the Arctic air mass, or we're getting rid of the Arctic air mass. We're in an Atlantic-driven sort of air mass, and so it will be a little bit milder, but it will also be more unsettled as well. Right, so this is how the UK Met is looking for Tuesday. Low pressure's dominating weather on Tuesday, bringing heavy bouts of rain across many parts of the country. That continues into Wednesday. There are concerns about flooding, particularly for parts of northern England and also Wales and possibly the Midlands as well. Second half next week, take back low pressure into the North Sea and turn wind into the north. There could be some significant snow through the second half of next week as these northerly winds return, with the low pressure in the North Sea driving in lots of heavy wintry showers to the northern half of the country anyway. Yeah, we could well see more significant snow later next week up in the north. This is how the GFS 6Z is looking. So again, it's relatively mild, wet and windy through the middle part of the coming week. Then the low pressure moves into the North Sea. Look how tightly packed the isobars are around that area of low pressure. Gale or even severe gale force winds coming in from north. Could this be a named storm by the UK Met and Met area? We'll have to wait and see. But certainly very significant winds wrapped around that area of low pressure in the second half next week, and coming in from the north as well will drive colder air back in from the north through the second half next week, with an increasing risk of snow, especially in the northern half of the country and over high ground, but not exclusively so. Next weekend, we've got a trough of low pressure trying to come in from the Atlantic into that cold air. That might deliver some snow across more southern areas next weekend. Stays cold really through most of next weekend, but by the early part of the following week, this is Monday 25th of January, we're starting to draw in a rather milder westerly flow, and as we get to day 10 and beyond it, we do go into an Atlantic-driven sort of pattern, so this is less cold. It's not particularly mild, we're still just about actually on the cold side of the jet stream even now, so it's not particularly mild, but it is like a less cold sort of spell of weather that's coming in for the closing days of January, with bouts of rain on those areas of low pressure. Perhaps Scotland still left in the cold air on the cold side of the areas of low pressure, and we finish up by the end of the GFS run, which gets us to the 1st of February today. We finish up looking like we're going to have a go at building up the Scandinavian high as well, so maybe into February we'll find some easterlies setting in. That's what those of you in the south need to get some snow. I know you've been missing out with these northerly winds. Not getting much snow. You really need to get wind in from the east, and then that draws in the snow across lowland southern England. This is a precipitation type forecast based on that ECM run from Tometeo.com. So going to be a lot of rain. That's the most primary concern, I think, for Tuesday and Wednesday. A lot of rain focus on England and Wales. Look how the rain's like continuous over northwest England and much of Wales. Continuous rain could well bring flooding to Wales, the northern England and the Midlands through the middle part of the week, turning increasingly to snow across Scotland through the middle part of next week as colder air begins to dig in. By Wednesday, snow could be coming all the way down in towards northern England and the Midlands. Again, real snow event there. Wednesday night into Thursday morning across northern England and Scotland. Very significant snow suggested there. And then as we go into the second half next week, of course, those northerlies begin to push southwards again, and so the snow risk begins to move south once more through the second half next week. Into next weekend, that little trough of low pressure maybe delivers some snow to more southern parts of the country. One to watch. And then to go beyond that, we go into a less cold air mass through the last days of January, so we go back to rain Again, really, away from Scotland anyway, where we're still on the cold side of the areas of low pressure, some snow possible there. But most places go back to rain in the closing days of January. That's as far as we go, up to beginning of February, by which time we're starting to see things getting colder and snow is beginning to come back to northern and eastern areas, possibly ahead of the wind turning into the east. We would have to wait and see about that. This is how the GM is looking. So again, mild, wet, windy through the early part of the week. Then we go back into those cold northerly winds as we get through to the end of next week. That's Friday. GM putting down a proper northerly, but an area of low pressure tries coming from the Atlantic. Now, this is further south compared to the GFS, so this would suggest a snow event possible for England and Wales next weekend. One to watch, as I say. That low pressure runs across the south, could bring significant snow, turns the wind into the east, so keeps it cold. GM keeps it cold up to Monday, 25th of January, and it's actually still cold up to day 10. The GM keeps it cold throughout. This is Tuesday, 26th of January. We don't introduce those mild southwesterly winds. We keep the wind in from an east to northeasterly direction. So the GM shows how we could keep it cold up to day 10. It's probably an outlier, but you wouldn't totally rule it out. This is how the ECMWF is looking. Again, mild, wet, windy. If you're enjoying this video, please smash your like button. Drop a comment, let us know what you think. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, please. This is how things look through the middle part of the week. So low pressure will be over top of the country, bringing heavy rain. And it will start to get colder as well as low pressure is away to our east by Friday. We're drawing in those cold northerly winds. Cold into next weekend as well. Risk of sleet and snow in places. By day 10, low pressure coming in off the Atlantic, probably starting to bring some milder air in, particularly so to the south, although Scotland would still be on the cold side of the areas of low pressure. This would be precipitation type forecast based on that ECM run from Tometeo.com. So we have got a lot of rain to come through the early and middle part of this week, especially focused on England and Wales, turning to snow on the northern edge, which is like into Scotland and the north of northern England by Wednesday, Thursday. Proper snow event going on up in the north. A real dumping of snow actually here. Let's not sort of overlook this. It's a real dumping of snow across Scotland and down into northern England. You've already had a lot of snow since Christmas in the north. Those of us in the south find it hard to believe how wintry it's been in the north. But it has been very wintry in the north, and this goes on. You know, it's going to go on into next week. Now, eventually the wind will go into the north by the end of next week, and then we'll try and move low pressure into that cold air. Now, the ECM actually has most of that running in to our south, so not much in the way of precipitation from that. But of course, that can change. By day 10, we're bringing the next weather system in off the Atlantic. That's bringing some snow across parts of England and Wales before turning back to rain by day 10. This is the option that's on the table within the ECM ensembles today for day 10, which gets us to the 26th of January. 51 out of 51 members of the ECM ensembles, all of them have high pressure blocking to the northwest. Low pressure is to our south. Winds of push. Jet streams a little bit to our south as well. And it's still cold for the north. At the southern areas, it might be a little bit less cold, but still with appreciable levels of northern blocking. In 2 weeks' time, this is the option that we've got. It'll get us to the last day of January. 51 out of 51 members of the ECM ensembles again, with this mid-Atlantic ridge suggesting blocking towards the Canadian side of Greenland anyway, and a trough of low pressure centred right over top of the country. Again, you would think the jet streams come a little bit further northward, so probably less cold with that, but it wouldn't take much of an adjustment to still bring the wind in from the north, particularly to the northern half of the country. Finally, the CFS V2, these are 500 millibar heights breaking down to week pairs. The first week pair will take us from the 16th to the 22nd of January. The coming week has northern blocking, large areas of high pressure within the northern latitudes combined with low pressure over much of Western Europe. Jet streams a little bit south as well. Looks generally quite cold in the weekend, particularly so for more northern areas and, of course, unsettled as well. Week 2 is going to take us from the 23rd to 29th of January. Just looking a little bit less cold here. Jet streams coming northwards a little bit. Blocking is still there, but it's receding back slightly northwards. And heights are rising, or trying to rise from the Azores into the Med. So just lifting the jet stream up a little bit, turning slightly less cold, but very unsettled, of course, with that deep area of low pressure. Week 3 is the 30th of January to the 5th of February. Trough of low pressure is right over top of the country then. Ridge is down to the southwest. So again, this is probably going to be Atlantic driven, probably not overly cold. And yeah, so that's sort of westerly and unsettled. Week 4 is interesting. This is the 6th to the 12th of February. The trough of low pressure weakens over the country and the northern blocking is re-strengthening over the Arctic and like from Svalbard to Greenland. Could that be the first tropospheric response to the stratospheric warming? That would be about right, I think, to start seeing the tropospheric response to the stratospheric warming. I do not think we have had any tropospheric response yet to that stratospheric warming, by the way. So people have been asking me whether, whether we got at the moment is anything to do with the stratospheric warming. I would say not. No, I would say that's most likely to be around when we will start getting a tropospheric response to the stratospheric warming, sometime through the early part of February. So could that be it? Could that northern blocking there be it? Anyway, the upshot is the trough of low pressure is weakening and we would probably be starting to have a go at pulling wind into the east. Notice the heights around Spain are weakening as well. So that could be starting to set up something a lot colder into February. But that's 4 weeks away. A very, very long way off. If you enjoyed this video, please can you click like. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. You'll be able to see future weather content if you do that. Don't forget to tell your friends and family about Gal's Weather Vids. Get them to subscribe as well. And thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. Drop a comment and let us know what you think about this and all of the videos. Right, that's it then. We're going to be back later on, live streaming between 6 and 7 o'clock. A one-off, very rare and unusual Saturday night live stream. As we are getting ever closer to 10k subs, will we be able to put some more subscribers on and get ourselves to 10k? You'll find out between 6 and 7 o'clock tonight. We will go through the 12s there as well, of course, as we are in the weather business. So we're not just here to put on subscribers. We are here to give you information, and so we'll go through the 12s then, and so I shall see you live from 6 o'clock. But for this video, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.